New setup, new hair. This is the first video I'm filming with this hair, so I was so sick of the purple, and so now it's gone, and now we're going to be in yellow and green for a little bit. Don't know how long, but today I wanted to do a little video for you on Ace and Arrow lingo. So if you want to see that, stick around. Hi, I'm Farron. I use they them pronouns, and I am so excited for today's video. My social medias are linked down below, and let's just get into it. I do want to start off by saying thank you for the support on my Arrow videos. I got some new subscribers, and so I want to say welcome. I want to make more Arrow and Ace videos in the future, but I first wanted to make this video as a sort of a glossary on Ace and Arrow terms before I go into more detail on certain topics. I took notes and I didn't type them up. I was Googling the terms and then I put them on a Google Doc, and I printed them out so it was easier for me to read instead of reading it from my tablet. And I will be leaving links to all of the sources I used down below. So if you want to check any of them out, you can. I'm not reading everything from these websites, only certain parts. So you can check them out for yourself later. Another thing I wanted to add is that I did not put this in alphabetical order. I don't really think that's helpful unless you're trying to find a certain term. But in the conversation with Ace and Arrow, I wanted it to flow better and you get a full picture with the definitions. I'm going to start at one point and I'm going to end at another point, and it's going to make sense in the order that I put it in. Hopefully it makes sense. I mean, it made sense when I was like Googling it and I was like, okay, we're going to put this here, we're going to put that there, and it's going to, I kind of like was practicing scripting it in my head as I was putting the definitions in, so hopefully it flows as well as I hope it does. But let's get into it. The split attraction model, otherwise known as SAM, is a model in psychology that distinguishes between a person's romantic and sexual attraction, allowing the two to be different from each other. There is some discourse surrounding the term, and I'll talk more about it later, but don't feel the need to use SAM if it doesn't work for you. Aromantic describes people who do not experience romantic attraction or experiences little to no romantic attraction. It is often shortened to Arrow. And the opposite of aromantic is alloromantic, which is someone who experiences romantic attraction. Asexual, a term used to describe someone who experiences little to no sexual attraction towards individuals of any gender. It is often shortened to ace. And the opposite of asexual is allosexual, a person who feels a sexual attraction to anyone regardless of sexual orientation. So those are like the big terms that start off the whole like, do you experience romantic attraction? Yes or no? Well, there is like maybe, but there's like stipulations, and that's like comes as a spectrum. When it comes down to romantic, I think I said aromantic, romantic. And then like if you experience it, it's like, yes, I experience romantic attraction, alloromantic. No, but aromantic. Because there's like sometimes I don't, but I still desire a romantic relationship, and things like that fall under the Arrow spectrum, whereas a definitive yes is alloromantic. And same goes for asexual. Do you experience sexual attraction? Yes, I do. Then it's allosexual. It's like, no, but asexual, because you can experience no sexual attraction, desire a sexual relationship. You can not experience it unless you've formed a deep bond with someone. All of that is in the spectrum. It's like, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, most of the time I don't, and then once I did. All falls under the asexual spectrum. There are more than just 2 types of attraction, but I will make a video on the different types of attraction later. There are often some misconceptions about being asexual and aromantic. They assume something is medically wrong with aces by mentioning libido. And libido is a person's sex drive or the frequency in which they desire sexual contact regardless of their experiences or lack thereof of attraction. Someone's libido or sex drive is not the same as their attraction. Someone might be asexual and have a high sex drive, or they can have none at all. And when you have no libido, you're a non-libidoist, which is someone who does not have a libido or has a very low libido. And so, clearing up the misconception that libido has nothing to do with your level of sexual attraction. You can be asexual and have a high libido. You can be allosexual and have a low libido. Libido has nothing to do with your levels of experiencing sexual attraction. Sitting up hurts my spine. Oh man, my shoulders are just like, oh. Anyway, people often assume that asexuality and celibacy and other similar terms are the same. They're not. Chastity. To only participate in sex in circumstances prescribed by one's religious beliefs. Means to please one's partner or to procreate. Antisexual. Ideologically opposed to sex or having negative views of other people's sexual lifestyles, related to slut-shaming. Celibacy. The choice to abstain from all sexual activity regardless of attraction. Celibacy is a behavior and a choice. Abstinence is the practice of self-enforced restraint from indulging in bodily activities that are widely experienced as giving pleasure. While these terms are not synonymous with asexuality, some asexuals may still use these terms for themselves. They may be ideologically opposed to sex or choose to abstain from it. So can allosexual people. They can have negative views of other people's sexual lifestyles or only engage in sex because of their religious beliefs. Chastity, celibacy, and abstinence are choices people make regardless of their sexual attraction. Antisexual is an ideological belief that anyone can have. There are asexual people who engage in sexual activity, and there are allosexual people who are opposed to sex. Because people often conflate asexuality with celibacy and those other terms, this often leads to acephobia/arophobia/aphobia, which are any negative attitudes towards asexuality, aromanticism, and asexual or aromantic people, indulging in prejudice, hate, bullying, and erasure. I want to say that acephobia is specific to asexual people, arophobia is specific to aromantic people, and aphobia is for aro and ace people. Not necessarily aro-ace people, but aces and aros. Ace and aro erasure. The denial that asexuality and or aromanticism is real, the invisibility and lack of representation of asexuality and aromanticism, and examples include dismissing, ignoring, or trying to explain away asexuality and aromanticism. Amnormativity. The assumption or insistence that romantic relationships are the norm and should be the ultimate goal in life for everyone, and that these relationships are more intrinsically valuable than other relationships. Meaning, everyone should be in a relationship, everyone should get married, and it's a romantic relationship. Heteronormativity, the assumption that heterosexuality and heteroromanticism are the norm, when people assume that everyone is straight. Compulsory sexuality, the assumption that everyone experiences sexual attraction and that everyone should desire sex and partake in it. Compulsory sexuality puts usually heterosexual relationships at the center of the ideal human experience. It also includes the idea that romantic relationships must include sexual activity, closely related to amnormativity. Allosexism, belief or assumption that being allosexual, someone who experiences sexual attraction, is the only way to be or is the best way to be. Pathologization. I'm sorry. Here I am making a video on terms and I can't even pronounce it. Pathologization. The act of treating something as an illness or disorder, which is abnormal and needs to be fixed. Asexuality is often pathologized. Infantilization. Treats someone as a child or in a way which denies their maturity in age or experience. I put this definition in because asexual people are often infantilized as well. They're either pathologized or infantilized. Then we have AVEN, the Asexuality, Visibility, and Education Network, the largest online ace community with lots of forums and information. And I'll leave a link to AVEN down below. David J., which is the founder of AVEN, one of the few asexuality awareness activists who is featured in the media with any regularity. Asexuality and aromanticism are spectrums, which I mentioned earlier, but now I'm going to go further into detail on those spectrums. But first, spectrum. What is a spectrum? It is used to classify something or suggest that it can be classified in terms of its position on a scale between two extremes or opposite points. Another definition is a wide range. Aspect is an umbrella term for anyone who experiences little to no romantic or sexual attraction. This includes aromantics and asexuals, as well as demis, grays, and everyone else in the spectrum. There's also aspec, which is for the asexual spectrum, and arospec, which is for the aromantic spectrum. Because both asexuality and aromanticism are spectrums, people are going to have a spectrum of attitudes towards sex and romance. There is sex favorability, someone who may engage in sexual activity even though they do not have any desire for sexual activity, for example, to please a partner. Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. That was confusing, even reading that myself. Someone who may engage in sexual activity even they do not have any desire for sexual activity, for example, to please a partner. I feel like it better would say even they don't experience sexual attraction. I feel like for both. I mean, they may not necessarily desire it, but also I think the better way of saying that was if you don't experience sexual attraction. Sex indifference, someone who is neutral towards engaging in sexual activity. Sex repulsion, a personal aversion towards engaging in sexual activity. Someone who is sex repulsed is not necessarily sex negative. It's just more on a personal level. I think sex negative or anti-sexual, that's what they're talking about. Oh my gosh, I'm not wearing my ace ring. I was doing my hair, so I took it off. And now I'm feeling weird that it's not on. Sex negativity, a moral aversion towards sexual activity as a whole, regardless of one's own participation or abstinence from sexual activity. Sex positivity, harboring positive attitudes towards sex, regardless of one's own desire or lack of desire for sexual activity. Touch aversion, a desire not to be touched by people or to touch others, and or a repulsion to touch. This is often related to sexual touch but can be any kind of touch. While the source I used talked about this spectrum using sexuality, the terms can also be applied to aromantic to swap sex with romance. Because then I'd be reading the same definitions except with romance, so I just thought I'd put that in there. Now, going back to the different types of attraction, there are terms that are equivalent to crush that relate to each one. And I was going to just leave this for when I'm talking about the different types of attraction, but I decided to include them in this video since they are like ace and arrow terms. So there is lush, a sensual equivalent of a squish or a crush. A plish, an instance or example of sensual attraction. Plush, a queer platonic crush or a strong desire to join in a queer platonic relationship with someone. A smush, a sexual attraction, aka lust. And a squish, an intense feeling of attraction, liking, appreciation, admiration for a person you urgently want to get to know better and become close with. It is different from just wanting to be friends, and there is an intensity about it, and oh my god, I'm being hit at all sides. The front, my throat's been off for a week, and it's just now coming back, sort of. And then I'm sitting up straight for this video, and my spine is like, why? And it's hitting me right between the shoulder blades. Okay, I'm just going to start over on squish. And I'm going to be a little slouchy because my spine really hurts. An intense feeling of attraction, liking, appreciation, admiration for a person you urgently want to get to know better and become close with. It is different from just wanting to be friends in that there is an intensity about it and a disproportionate sense of elation when they like and appreciate you back. In the asexual community, the equivalent of a crush, but explicitly lacking an interest in forming a romantic couple or having a sexual relationship with the person in question. It does not matter if they are in a relationship as long as you can have a deep connection. A swish, an aesthetic crush, and a thete, a thete, a thete. I think thete sounds more appropriate. An instance or example of aesthetic attraction. And it was proposed by Anna Nori. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. My brain literally could not grasp the lettering, so I'm sorry. Other attraction terms. Aromate, a term to refer to a partner in an aromantic relationship. That's cute. Asexy, a term used playfully by some members of the ace community as a positive describing word, often in relation to things or people they are attracted to but not sexually. Limerence, any strong feelings of attraction such as butterflies, nervousness, obsessive thoughts, or desire for approval. Strong feelings of attraction that can be romantic, sexual, or platonic, characterized by a mixture of joy, nervousness, obsessive thoughts, and desire for approval from the target of interest. Often occurs in crushes. Non-amory. It's proposed by that same person who proposed the other term. I don't want to try to pronounce that name again, I'm sorry. A lifestyle choice or relationship style that does not include intimate, long-term partnerships, whether romantic or platonic. I'm going to be honest, that one confuses me. Peri-oriented. Having a romantic orientation and sexual orientation that target the same genders, e.g. a homosexual homoromantic person or a bisexual biromantic person. Very oriented describes a person whose romantic and sexual orientations don't align. For example, a homoromantic pansexual person or a homosexual demi-romantic person. And then the last one of, the last portion is things that only ace/arrow people will get. Black ring, an accessory used to signify that one is asexual, most commonly worn on the right middle finger, can be of any material or design. I forgot to put this in, but there's also the white ring, which is an accessory used to signify that one is a romantic and is usually put on the left middle finger. I have not bought one yet. The one I wanted is exactly like my ace ring, which is the Lord of the Rings, the one ring, but is in white. Does not fit on my finger because it only comes in like a size 6 or 7. And besides the size 5, that's a size 6. So I'm still looking. Cake jokes. Cake is associated with asexuality, most likely originated as a meme on Avon, predates the cake is better than sex meme. Queer platonic relationship. A close relationship that does not fit within the traditional boundaries of a romantic or sexual relationship, yet is different than friendship. QP, which is queer platonic or quasi-platonic, and QPP, a queer platonic/quasi-platonic partner. And then zucchini, humorous or casual term for a queer platonic partner. So I didn't know to look up quasi-platonic until just now, so I googled it really quick. A relationship that is not romantic but involves close emotional connection beyond what is considered friendship. Quasi-platonic relationship can also be described as an intense relationship with a strong bond characterized by love but not a romantic type. I also want to kind of look up something else. Okay, I also forgot that there was like a mascot for aces. I don't know if there's one for arrows, so if there is, let me know. I'm not sure. But I do know that there's a lot of, when I'm looking up like stuff for aces, there's like dragons. And so there, wow, I typed in, I misspelled asexual. I put a C instead of an X. Anyway, it is a running theme in the community that aces are like dragons because we don't exist, alluding to the fact that aces are often underrepresented or ignored. And so it's like dragon is a mascot and a slang within the ace community, as a mascot it symbolizes asexuality. Aces then mentioned they love dragons, and slowly the dragon started to be used as a symbol. Mythical creatures are often used to represent the ace community, as ace feel that they are like mythical creatures because society doesn't always feel like we exist. So, the dragon. I love dragons. So of course, when I'm like, our mascot is a dragon. I'm like all over that. My favorite TV show is Dragons Race to the Edge. So obviously I'm just like, yes, we got dragons. Now I'm going to type in aromantic mascot. Okay, so on aerocalypse.com, someone says, I don't think there's an official mascot, but I've seen a lot of frogs absolutely everywhere, and I'm in love with them. So, there's no official one for aromantic. And something that I'm seeing, someone said, this is from like 9 years ago on Reddit, aromantic mascot, ? The gray-headed lovebird. And then someone was like, why would we have a lovebird as our mascot? Which, I mean, I do like the irony, but also I agree. I don't think that it should be a lovebird. The bird's kind of cute though. I think it's because of the coloring, if we're being honest. I think the coloring will explain it. So I'm going to brighten my screen up. Like, I can get the vision. I still don't think it should be a lovebird. But it's cute. Oh, someone underneath said irony. I clicked on the more something. I'd rather have something that moves away from the whole ammonormativity. Which is fair. I agree though. The bird is cute, but I don't think it should be the mascot. Okay, well, those are the terms I have for you. I'm sure there's more that I've missed. So if there are some that you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments. Also, since there's no official mascot for aromantics, what should it be? Let me know your thoughts, and we can have an unofficial one. I saw a manatee on a flag. And there's like frog. You know what? I personally, because I found some fun stuff out, I think a cheetah. Yeah. Because fun fact, I was like looking up, doing something for a TikTok, and it was like, oh, what animal would I be? And I was like, let's find one. I was like, I love big cats. And so I was like, I'm not like a lion, even though I have a Leo moon. Not a lion. So I was like, and then I was like, cheetah. And then I was looking up cheetahs, and I was like, yeah. So cheetahs have, you know what? I'm just going to go onto Google since I'm already on here, so I can give you the facts. Okay, so according to mirror.co.uk, while cheetahs have unmatched power in the animal world when it comes to their speed, they're actually very sensitive creatures. They can also get so anxious about socializing with other animals that they avoid it altogether, leading to issues with them securing a mate to continue their bloodline. And so that's my thing. That's my option. But let me know what your thoughts are, and who would you put as the mascot for Aromantics? I'm curious. We don't have one, so it also could be a mythical creature. I would love that, but I'm thinking cheetah because that's the one that I already had in my head. But what mythical creature would it be? Let me know your thoughts. But that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative and that you learned something. I know I did. But I'm gonna let you go, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!